Yesterday, we're looking for Bitcoin to get into the $116,000 level, which is, it's done exactly that. But the big question is it going to hold that level? Because that's what we need to see to confirm that power of three, right? The accumulation, manipulation phase under 16K, and then the expansion, which is confirmed when you break back into the $16,000 region. And that's exactly what we've done. So we're going to have a look at where things are most likely going to go next. Are we going to have continuous upside for about 2 weeks? And why would we, right? That's what we'll discuss today. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. We'll also have a look at some of these stocks, which are also putting in a little bit of a bounce. We need to look at gold. Gold looks set to break out to new all-time highs. And we know that there is somewhat of a correlation between Bitcoin and gold. If gold breaks out to new all-time highs, we know that Bitcoin has a very high chance of lagging and therefore following through to all-time highs as well shortly after gold. So the markets are highly correlated. Our biggest risk when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto is, of course, always going to be the stock market. If the stock market pulls back aggressively, that is drastically going to affect where crypto goes next. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the stock market. Let's look at gold. Let's have a look at some of the other Magnificent Seven stocks and the crypto stocks that we outlined yesterday, which were coming into key areas, and whether those levels are going to hold. So for gold over here, you can see pretty much a bullish chart pattern, which is currently forming. You have a bullish pennant, essentially similar to a bull flag, big move towards the upside, and you start to consolidate with lower highs but higher lows as well. And as you approach that apex, which is where we're coming into right now, you can see very soon, if it does follow this trajectory, it should be between August and September, somewhere within those 2 months, that you begin to actually expand and break out. Now, of course, it could happen sooner. This is already test point 1, test point 2, test point 3, and you're coming in for the fourth attempt. The fourth to fifth attempt is the most likely and highest probability of breaking out when you come in for that fourth to fifth test on gold. And if gold breaks out, it can happen in a couple of different ways, but most of the time we see that Bitcoin tends to slightly lag gold, and gold leads the market. So if gold leads towards the upside, new all-time highs, that could be what's coming next, at least for Bitcoin. Let's have a quick look at the stock markets. The stock market's really just consolidating. A lot of fear coming into the stock market with concerns that it's going to begin to roll over here. Right now, it's consolidating, and you do definitely have a clear horizontal area of interest, which is going to be right over there. You can see those prior tops. So that was resistance, 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 led to the breakdown move. Price rallied all the way through up exactly from bottom to top, 33.77%, pulled back, tested that level. So it's not out of the question that you see the S&P 500 just simply bobbing and weaving and ranging between this area, reaccumulating and getting ready for higher prices. Now, of course, if the stock market does actually break down and flip this 6,250 into resistance over there, then of course that's where the real trouble comes in for Bitcoin. And this is pretty much our biggest risk factor right now when it comes to trading crypto, as well as a couple of the other Magnificent Seven stocks and the crypto stocks, which we want to quickly look at. So Nvidia still flying over here, still in the long trade. Everything is working out really well over there. Nothing really to comment on with regards to that. We also have the long trade on Meta, but consolidating over here. Don't be surprised if it fills this gap. You can see the gap that occurred over there. If it does come down into 736, that's probably going to be another opportunity for Meta. That's Meta Platforms, Facebook, Instagram, etc., to reaccumulate and continue up, where we think it's going to move up to about 900 before the cycle is said and done. Remember, we're in a broader bull run, not only crypto. We're in a bull run for the land markets, which is of course, home prices around the world, the real estate market. We also in a bull market for the stocks and the S&P 500. So therefore, before all is said and done, Meta probably up to about 900. We have Tesla breaking out. We gave the macro trade, but we said, maybe this is not going to make it all the way back down to 260, which is going to be the macro trade. So consequently, if you were looking for an opportunity to get in, we spoke about that yesterday, reallocating into the market over here. If you're not already long on Tesla at 320, and stop losses just below yesterday's low. So you can begin to raise that over there a little bit higher up. So I'd go just below yesterday's low. If it's wrong, you want to stop out very, very, very quickly at $305 for, of course, Tesla. And then we have Coinbase. Let's have a quick look at that. Coming into that key support. Now, this is, again, the area of interest where you expect this should bounce up. At least I think you're going to get a move up into this 350 region, and then you can reassess, is that going to lead to a rejection, or is it going to break above, flip it into support, and continue higher? But if you were looking to get long, this was generally the area of interest to get long on Coinbase. Remember, these are traded on BTCC. The link is in the description below. If you do want to trade over there, you get a sign-up bonus and savings on your trading fees. We also have MicroStrategy breaking this level, a little bit of reaccumulation taking place. It's going to trade very, very similar to how Bitcoin would. So do keep an eye out on that. Now, we tagged the liquidity. We spoke about yesterday the possibility of a short squeeze taking place. And you can see there it is, right? Price rallied up. The question was, are you going to put in a swing failure pattern? What is a swing failure pattern? Remember, the candle goes up into the resistance, leaves a wick behind, and the body of the candle closes lower. That would be a swing failure pattern. As you can see, that didn't happen. In fact, you held up at that level, and you can see a couple of candles later, you came back down and you actually tested that back as support around that 115, 116K level. And so far, you're holding that. This is very, very, very important to be paying attention to on the weekly time frame, because now we need to see where the new liquidity is going to build up and if they're going to start to send prices higher. So that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see price action defend that level. You can see we rallied straight up into, this is the order block we spoke of, which is more or less in the mid-range. If you're focusing on the yellow box as your range, your trading range, you got the range high, you got the mid-range, and you got the range low. So you've rallied up, you've tested that mid-range level over there, and you've started to reject. It's not, a death sentence yet or anything. It's the exact area based on that order block that actually led to that breakdown move. That's exactly where you would expect that price would reject. But we can't call this a rejection. What we're actually looking for from the bullish standpoint is maintaining above the yellow line, which is that 116K level, and consolidating now between the very, very, very tight trading range, less than a 4% trading range. We want to see a consolidation between the range low and the mid-range. That consolidation will build up enough momentum to eventually break things back up. And if that does happen, remember the picture that we're looking at. We're looking at accumulation, manipulation below, break back inside, reaccumulate a little bit more, and then you lead into expansion as per this picture, right? That is the power of 3. So far, the plan is following the way that we wanted it to. That starts to fall apart, I guess, if you, break back below the yellow line, which is going to be, again, a 116. 116 is a very important critical level to hold and defend. If you start to break below that, then yes, there's a chance that this is a lower high and you're going to start to mark down much lower. Probably $110,000, $111,000 is going to be your next major support. And then we can reassess from that point. So if you are long on the market, it's going to go for any of the coins that you're in, pretty much stop loss under yesterday's low. So that's going to be the Thursday, the 7th of August lows, whatever coin you're looking at, stop loss below there. If you take that level out, ultimately you have to view this as a strong rejection, and therefore the power of 3 is not playing out. So far, it looks good though. Everything is playing according to plan, and that's also just coming off of the hash ribbons buy indicator from Capriol Investments. You can see over here, this shows minor profitability, and when those moving averages begin to spread away from each other, there's a high likelihood that the low is in and that you've printed a high low. So this doesn't have a 100% success rate, just like anything else out there. Never 100% success rate. If I had any strategy with 100% success rate, I would literally be a multi-billionaire, and I would just milk that thing for myself. Okay, that's the truth. That's what people would do, right? No 100% success rate, but high probability in the region of 80 to 90% chance when you get the buy signal that the previous low, which is this one over here, $98,000, is going to be the low to hold. And therefore, anything that's, between current price action and that low at $98,000 becomes your high-low territory. So even if you do mark down a bit further, you'd still be looking for high-low somewhere around there. Let's hope that it's obviously this. That's the high-low that's come in. We have also the high volume profile over here. We've been holding above the value area high of the trading range at 106,767. That is ever since price was chopping about from last year, November 2024. You can see it came down, came up, reclaimed that, led to a big move towards the upside, pulled back perfectly into the fair value gap, wicked a little bit through that 0.382 fib level, which is what we wanted to see. And this was the expectation. So now in the shorter term, of course, you could chop about here a bit, right? You can chop about, but in the next couple of weeks, we would definitely love to see a break of this orange line, the downsloping trend line, which should mark price up higher towards that $130,000 region. And we have, of course, the support of the bull moon, which should, on the chart, you're going to see that pop up later on today. So again, possibly marking a significant low in the market, catching price between the 0.5 and 0.328. Right now, the price is high enough to be above the yellow line over here, which means your RSI is trending towards the upside on the daily. So that is your pivot level. As long as, and the pivot level lines up with the pivot level from a price action standpoint, which we spoke about all of yesterday, that 116K level, right? You can see 116,200 in the right-hand margin over here. That's the level to defend. As long as you keep above that level, well, ultimately your RSI on the daily will keep moving towards the upside. And if your RSI is moving towards the upside, what does the RSI stand for? Relative strength. That means that the bulls then maintain that relative strength and have the propensity and ability to break that downsloping trend line over there, and that should get prices up higher and follow in accordance with gold. We do need to see, of course, the daily exchange volume bounce from this level. We'll see later today when this refreshes. I don't think it's refreshed yet. As you can see, it only updates, I'm still on the 7th of August data. It's only about midday my time, which is in about an hour's time that this will refresh. So I'll refresh it in an hour, and then we'll see, hopefully that ticks towards the upside. And that will be another meaningful sign to say that, things are looking good and the bulls have the ability to take control. So with that being said, remember we spoke about this and I said you're coming into the key area on total 3 representing the altcoin market, consolidating underneath the neckline of the cup and handle formation, which is still indicating much higher prices, almost double your money types of move, 100% move towards the upside at the time when we mentioned it. And so far you're getting that consolidation. So very similar to Bitcoin. It's not to say that it's going to happen in 1 or 2 candles, but any little chop around here is just going to reaccumulate and mount that pressure and momentum that's needed in order to break the neckline. Once you break the neckline, the energy of the market begins to shift aggressively. And keep this in mind when you look at things like Coinbase. Coinbase is also coming off of a massive weekly cup and handle formation, very similar to this. This is total 3, weekly cup and handle formation. Coinbase is doing exactly the same thing. And Coinbase is indicating that it could move up to about $650, which is par the course, what you're looking at on total 3. It's telling you the same story, right? It's all in agreement, which is what we want to see. We want to see these confluent factors, when you're looking at different sort of indicators or metrics, but they're all telling the same story that increases the chances that your bias is correct, right? So others as well, holding up between that is 0.618 golden pocket that was perfectly tested, reclaiming that purple line, which is your 50% level, looking really, really good. And this, may have the ability for the first time in a long time to clear the 0.15 level. I definitely don't want to speak too soon because we don't have any confirmations. There is a lot of work to be done. In fact, you have a shorter term downtrend, which is still being formed over there. So we really need to see this next move up take out that level. And for that to happen, you need a proper drop in Bitcoin dominance, which we're getting. But it's not a proper confirmed drop yet. We're getting a low time frame drop, which we called pretty much exactly at the top over here and positioned into altcoins at that point in time, breaking down, forming, of course, a low time frame bull flag, right? There it is, forming a low time frame bull flag and now beginning to confirm the breakdown, which should take Bitcoin dominance to 57%. Now, Bitcoin dominance down to 57% will create that high time frame shift in the energy and momentum of the market and the call it the optimism or pessimism, depending on where you're sitting with around the altcoins, because you're going to be breaking the entire bull market parallel channel that's been governing the Bitcoin dominance towards the upside. So that low time frame bear flag, if completed and breaks down to 57.46, will break down the lower boundary of this parallel channel that's been rising towards the upside, which means that you're in for a couple of good weeks of price action, especially within the altcoin sector. Remember, one of the biggest ways that the altcoins are going to move is money flowing out of Bitcoin, which is a multi-trillion-dollar asset class, into the altcoins. So you ask, where's the money going to come from? That's where some of the money is going to come from. So we'll patiently wait. Right now, it's looking more bearish than bullish on this, which is, of course, good for the case for altcoins in the short term. And I always want to be clear about that. You got short time frames, medium time frames, and then you got high time frames, right? In the short term, it looks like still altcoin outperformance in the very short term. I can't comment yet on the medium to high time frame. We can only make those types of comments and conclusions when you actually confirm the break and closing multiple candles at this 57% region, because then you've broken this high time frame trend. So with that being said, we took a whole lot of trades using grid bots a couple of months ago. We can have a look at some of those. I think they need some tweaking and readjustment. Of course, I'm talking about Pinex. We took, ETH trades from really, really low down. Our range was as low as $1,000, which means that we actually managed to buy the bottom over there at around 1,500, 1,300, whatever it was. And we set the upper boundary of that grid at 4,000, which now, if Bitcoin dominance breaks down, would mean that Ethereum is probably going to break above $4,000. So we need to make some adjustments to these grids. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you are not already signed up to Pinex and you actually want to participate in the changes that we're going to make, the new bots that we're going to open up, well, you need to use the link in the description below. Sign up. If you haven't already signed up, sign up. You get up to $1,000 sign up bonus. Everything is linked below over here. It does say copy Kyle's strategies. Ignore that part. Ignore that part, because these strategies have already been open for some time. You need to participate in the new strategies. So get registered. On Monday, we will open up some new trades. We'll make the adjustments on the older bots. For now, I've been receiving, obviously, questions about that. What sort of changes should you make? These are the trades that we've taken. You can see some of these things cooking. ENA, up massively. You can see grid profits 2,493%. We have Bonk 979%, 310% over there on Fartcoin. Some of them are down. FET is down 33%. It's okay. We'll make adjustments, close the things that we need to over there. But the grid bots are very useful for people that want to dabble in leverage trading, but they're not that successful in doing it because they, unloading, full porting is what it's called. They're unloading everything in one go. This will really help you to identify a trading range as markets range and their trend. But most of the time, markets range. About 70% of all trading is a ranging market oscillating between a low and a high. Now, you can set these up in such a way that you participate on both the trending markets and the ranging markets. So, for example, let's use ETH as a good example, and we'll make the adjustments over there. So Ethereum has been ranging between, call it $2,000 and $4,000. But now we can make adjustments to say that, it looks like Ethereum is actually going to break out into a trending move. There's a question quickly. Addy NK, how much do the bots cost? Absolutely zero, nothing. It doesn't cost anything over here, right? This is for Pinex bots. These are manual bots. You don't have to pay anything. Everything is for free. You just need to use that link below, and you'll get also discounts on your trading fees as well if you use that particular link. And then you're getting up to $1,000 depending on what you deposit. So choose what number is right for you. Let's make some adjustments, right? Let's move this up. Let's have a look at, let's complete our altcoin analysis over here and have a look at a couple of the main positions that we're in, and then we'll get into that. So get your account ready right now. You can get your account ready, and then we're going to come back to that. We'll make the adjustments. We'll look if there's new things to open up, and then you can decide what you want to do by Monday. So USDT dominance, we're getting the rejection over there, very similar to the breakdown with the low time frame bear flag on the Bitcoin dominance. The USDT dominance, which is your stablecoin dominance, we want to see this go down. We're getting that downside move. If we get 1 or 2 more days of downside, you're going to confirm this in a more aggressive move towards the downside. I do think we need to be somewhat cautious, though, as it hits 3.79%, which is going to be a horizontal line. This is where a lot of your major bottoms have occurred. If you can break below that line, the floodgates open and things are going to look rock solid and very, very, very good. So looking very quickly at SUI on the high time frame, I'm still of the bias or opinion, at least, that this is a wave 1 into a wave 2, and we're busy with a wave 3. So this is just chop within a broader wave 3 move. The wave 3 is the biggest and strongest move when it comes to an Elliott wave count, and therefore these shakeouts shouldn't last very long. So that red week that we had last week well, you would expect if this is actually a wave 3, that it shouldn't last very long, and now we should very quickly begin to move towards the upside. So if we look on the lower time frame, I'll remind you, yesterday we went through the entire list on the daily time frame of multiple different coins that have all printed their green dots, and that drastically increased the probability that you'd put in a high low. And now that we've had a strong daily candle close, and that daily candle close has closed back above the midline, which is your yellow line that I've circled, the target becomes the yearly open. If you can consolidate above the yearly open, you still have a lot of room in terms of the momentum and the money wave that can move towards the upside. And therefore, you can actually target all the way up to the range high, which is going to be 533. So all in all, this is looking really good. This is personally, SUI is my main position. This is my biggest position that I have on. And I'm looking for much, much higher prices. ETH is the other position that we've had on the table for a long time, and we got into this all the way down here at 1553. We got into it again at 1780, and then I've given multiple other entries along the way. So far, this is moving like a steam train, looking really, really solid. You're coming into resistance 1, 2, 3, 4, call it 5, 6 times. So you're most likely going to break out on this time. Now, I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to chase price. This is part of the reason why we're going to make the adjustment to the bot. Expectation would be probably something like that. Maybe you move up to about 4, 5, 4, 6, but then you're going to probably throw back anyway to flip this into support. That flip into support is going to be beautiful for the rest of the market as a final time to buy the dip and a reset. And then what happens next is once you open up this trading range between here and $7,000, this is where all your dreams come true. This is where all your dreams come true. When Ethereum begins trading above $4,000, between 4 and 7K, the expectation would be that's where you get the full confirmation breakdown of the Bitcoin dominance and the parallel channels low boundary. That's where you confirm this breakdown. Look, we're getting very, very, very close. This is dropping right now as we do the show, right? You're seeing a big drop over here, and consequently, you can just go look at the list of the recipients of that, which things are moving first, and those are most likely going to be some of the leaders. So let's make our adjustments, right? Therefore, we need to make adjustments. Why do we have to make adjustments? Because the more times you hit an area of resistance, the higher the probability is that you're going to break out. And we've been long on Ethereum for a very, very long time, and we need to modify the spot. So to do that, you go down over here. If you already took these trades with me, and you say edit the price range, and where are we editing this price range to? Now I will increase that to 7,000. That is going to be the upper limit, because we believe that ETH could move all the way up to about 7,000 over there. So current price 3.9, estimated liquidation price probably not getting there, right? If I can even adjust the leverage on this, I might do that. But let's quickly see over here whether to reinvest the profit. So we've made a lot of profits on this. Of course, we're going to reinvest the profits. Let's go. Adopt. So we're going to reinvest the profits on this one. And let's double check everything. Edit the parameters. All in all, looking good. Modify. There it is. Okay, so changing up the orders. Now it's gone red, of course, because we've changed the bot up and we're re-entering into new positions. Let me just double check everything. So we got our price range from 1,000. What we can also do is we can go over here to the futures bot, and then we can have a look, and I can go to, there's the ETH one, and let me just click on it so I can see exactly visually what all of this looks like over here. So we got the ETH futures bot over there, and where did it go? Let's just quickly see over there. Let me try that again. Click on that. Okay, there we go. There we go. So the lower boundary, okay, there we go. That's perfect. The lower boundaries, I think I can shift these somewhat. So let me go back into the bot over here. Details. So to do that, you have to go to details if you have been trading this. And let's just see over here more and edit the price range. Let's change that lower limit. And let's make that, for safety's sake, I'll go with about 2,000. Okay. Edit directly. Let's just double check or decrease. Yeah, that's okay. Adopt. Okay, so we've made a bit of an adjustment. There we go. So now it's in the green again. So again, back to that. Let's just check visually what these grids look like. Futures bot. Let's go down. ETH. And there we go. That looks much better. Alrighty, that looks much, much, much better. So we're expecting this should start to break out very, very, very soon. And we've reinvested that. I think we started this account with about $40,000. So looking really good, about 70K here. Almost doubled our money on these trades. Again, guys, if you do want to participate, use that link. You won't be able to copy the bots unless you use that particular link over here and sign up to Pinex, right? That's the only way you can copy these bots is if you use that particular link. I will open up new trades for you guys. I'll create the bots, and then you'll be able to copy the bots. Just to give you an example, it will say copy Carl strategies, and you can click here. Remember, I said, don't do that today. This is going to be from Monday, and this would be essential. We'll create a list over here, and you can literally just come and click copy, copy, copy if you want to take the same trades as me. You don't need to do that today. You can't do that today, actually, because those are older trades from previously that we took. We're going to have to open up some new trades. Now, there's also some positions that are in slight losses. As you can see over here, most of them are in profit. Not all of them are in profit. Some are in losses. So we need to make decisions over here if we need to change up some of these ones that are in a loss, or do we leave them? Because remember, part of the scaling in process means you will experience a certain level of drawdown. As it printed out all those little red grids and red lines, that's identifying the range area where price can pull back and drop into that range, which means it will be buying up, right? Your dollar cost averaging as it's going against you to reduce your average entry, which means you would be in the red. So we need to reassess, and we need to see these ones that are in the red, are they too far gone, or is it still following part of the plan? Let's do that. Let's look at the red ones first, and then we'll continue on with the green one. So Sonic is another one that we had, right? Let's have a look. Now, part of the reason that Sonic would be in the red over here is because I didn't create as many grids, right? You can see my margin for error. In terms of a risk to reward, the way you need to think about it is the green is, call it your stop loss, and the red is going to be where your take profits are happening. So if you look at this, and maybe I'll go into the weekly. No, it won't make a difference. I wish I could make this bigger. And it just seems, okay, I actually can. There we go. So if you look at this from a risk to reward perspective, you can see the risk to reward is insane. There's like taking like 100 to 1 risk to reward trade. So this one was a bit of a flyer when we initially took it. It did buy, it bought. It's got one more order to fulfill that narrowly missed. Look at how close that came. That order actually should have been fulfilled because it shows a little bit of a wick through. So I'm actually personally going to leave the Sonic one on. If I got liquidated on this, because these are an isolated margin and not cross margin, I'm actually okay with that. So I'm not going to make any changes to Sonic, even though it's in the red. FET is the other one that's in the red. Let's have a look at this. Theoretically, this is still following the plan. Why is it following the plan? Well, scaling into the green, it got a little bit sketchy over there, broke back up, still putting in some possible high lows. So there we go, putting in some high lows. I'm going to leave this one because I believe that FET at minimum is probably going to trade back up here towards some of these liquidity zones over here, which means it's going to move up to about 150, 160 at some point in time. So no changes. Theoretically, as per my analysis, this is all still part of the plan. I went a little bit deeper than I would have liked, but I had always planned out to scale into the green over there. So no changes over there. Okay. You guys are saying in terms of, being able to use this based on the country that you're in, just use a VPN. There is a link in the description below as well to NordVPN. Let's just quickly see if we have it here today. Maybe you guys can put it a little bit higher up for everyone to see, but protect yourself online. NordVPN, if you use this, you're getting 70% off. These are part of our relationships and partners that we've been partnered with for years now. So they give you guys special discounts, which is 74% off. So if you have a problem over there, now we're going to one of Miles's videos there. Let's just quickly go back over there. If you have an issue, go to NordVPN, turn your VPN on, and you should be able to register. Okay, next red one that we have. So we've covered FET, we've covered Sonic. I have, for some reason, 2 Sonic trades. Those are the red ones. The other red one is BTC. This was a hedge bot, meaning that we're both long and short at the same time. And this is simply just a hedge strategy. This one, I think we may close. Let's actually have a look at what this looks like. Okay, let's make that nice and big. Okay, so this one, I think I may just close. And then what I'd rather do is I'd rather identify later on in the cycle when we're starting to identify local tops within the market or major tops, cycle tops, and then we'll rather begin to create a head short. So I'm actually going to close this one. To do that, literally just click stop. Okay, so we're going to take a small loss on this one, only $287 out of the original 40 to 45K that we put in. It's nothing, right? Calculated risk, very, very, very small. The rest of the things are in profit. All right, also questions about the Diamond Whale. This is not the Diamond Whale. These are Pinex grid bots. So we got a couple of different strategies. Remember, the benefit of the Diamond Whale is a set and forget strategy. So it's about you dissociating yourself from what it's doing. And that's the point, right? Because sometimes you're wrong, and therefore the bot can take the trades for you. Remember, it's a long-term strategy as well with the Diamond Whale. You need to be in those positions for 6 months to even 18 months, 6 to 18 months, I would say at least. So my positions are still there. Okay, let's go through the rest a little bit quicker. I don't want to waste your guys' time. We all have things that we need to do. ENA, absolutely cooking. Do we need to make adjustments over here? This one is flying. We got a lot of space left. No changes needed, right? This one's cooking. That was the expectation. Price moves up, sell, 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 comes down, buy, 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 buy. Price moves up, sell, 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 and then comes down and we'll begin to buy again. No changes needed on ENA. That one is cooking. Let's go to Bonk. Bonk also absolutely cooking. I could have said bigger ranges, but it's done the job. I'm not going to change anything. If it approaches back near these highs, we'll make some adjustments. For now, we'll leave it. Fartcoin. Fartcoin, let's quickly make that one nice and big. Everything also in terms of the range looks good. No changes needed. Fartcoin looks right as rain. FET, we made the changes, right? We looked at it and we said no changes needed. Ondo, quick look at Ondo. We're in profit on this one. Any changes required? No. We've clearly identified the trading range, your buy area and your sell area. Perfect. Remember, green is the buy area, red is the sell area. Everything looks good there. SUI, we might have to make adjustments. Let's see if SUI needs adjustments. We've been buying all the way down to our bottom grid was $2.25. Really good. No changes needed. It's all in alignment with our targets up to about 655. This is what's so amazing about these bots. You don't need to check in too often and you make money. It's awesome. XRP. How's XRP doing? Let's quickly open that up. All's good. No changes needed, right? We got our upper grid at $4.58. If it begins to consolidate and approach there and we think it's going to $6, then we'll make changes. Look at this. We've been buying all the way down. Perfect. Identified that range absolutely perfectly. Let's see WIF. How's WIF doing? Meme coin's always a little bit more difficult. Again, no changes needed. Buying all the way down, and now it started to enter into the sell territory. Everything is perfect on WIF. So we leave that one as it is. Pepe. Okay, let's have a look at Pepe. Also, all good. No adjustments needed. We got the breakdown area, which is more or less where we're going to be targeting on Pepe up to about 18. What is that? Is this 18,000? It's 180, 175 to 180,000 are the last 6 digits of this. I would want to slowly start to exit just before then. If it's consolidating at the blue line at the top here with strength, then we'll readjust and make the targets high. But for now, on Pepe, no changes needed. And then let's go to our Solana grid and see what that one's doing. How's Solana looking? Now, this one may need adjustments. This one's looking good. I think I'm going to raise the targets over here on Solana. So Solana is looking good. Let's go to details. Let's modify this one. Okay, let's go edit our price range. Now, let's just pull up our other chart over here to just get these exact levels. So for Solana, I'm going to set it right to the top of the trading range at about 250. I'm going to go back to 250. If it can break and hold above 250, this would be the equivalent of Ethereum getting to 4K. If Ethereum gets above 4K, Ethereum moves to 7K, $7,000. So we can do the same thing, right? How we've left Ethereum until now. Ethereum has now hit around 4K and it's looking set to break out and trade up to 7. So we'll set the grid's upper boundary up to about, I'll go to $270. If it can get and hold above 270, then Solana will probably go to 430. So for now, we change it to 270. That's the aim. And the low boundary, let's just quickly check back on Solana over here. I think the low boundary, we can leave it about 106. Where is it set currently? So we had it at 68. So we're going to change that. 106 and the upper boundary we said 270. So lower limit 106, upper limit 270 over there. We got all of our grids in. Everything looks good. That's it. Let's go. Let's reinvest the capital that we've already made there. Okay. So there's some readjustments. It does put it in the red because we obviously changed the grids slightly, but it shouldn't be too long and we'll be back in profits over there. So these are grids. Everything's looking good. Let me know in the comments if you want to know more. Arnold's asking, Solana to 106. I must say, you don't look like an Arnold. I always see your comments, but you don't look like an Arnold to me with your picture. But Solana back to 206. I don't necessarily think so. Of course, if there was a really bearish retrace or some sort of a flush from the stock market, it's possible. That's part of the idea. It would mean that if Solana were moving back towards 106, it would just be buying a bit more, right? Okay, that's what it would do. It would buy a bit more. Okay, so all in all, it's looking good, right? I told you guys, the bots are really successful. This is a great way to alleviate some of the pressure. This is why I'm trying to introduce you guys to these things. We got the high leverage bots. Most of you get killed in leverage. So that's where, that's where the diamond whale can assist you. Most of you would have already did get liquidated. We know that over $1 billion worth got liquidated on the most recent flush that Bitcoin had a couple of weeks ago on Saturday, I think it was Saturday, the 1st of August. Whereas the diamond whale did not get liquidated. Of course, it took a knock just like anyone else would, but it never got liquidated. That's the important thing. It keeps you in the game. Whereas we have this is an even more conservative strategy than the diamond whale. We have our spot trading. Our spot positions are most notably Ethereum, and Sui is the biggest one. Especially those of you that are in Whale Room, you'll know about that. And then Sonic is a bit of a flyer, but very small percentage allocation into that. So that's currently, call it the portfolio that we have. What we'll do is we'll actually link after the show. Have a look for the links over here for how to build a portfolio. We'll link that show that I did, maybe in case there's someone new. And then we'll also link the show on Bybit tutorial if you're also looking for a place to trade leverage and you want to learn how to trade. And then for those of you not subscribed yet to the Whale Crypto Trades newsletter, subscribe. It is linked below. I'll be releasing a big report some point soon. So there it is. The free crypto newsletter, Whale Trades, is linked over there. We will open up new trades on Monday. Don't worry, the market is not going to run away yet. We'll open up new trades on Monday. For now, that was an update for everyone else that was on the Pinex train with those grid bots. For those of you that are not, if you want to participate in the next leg up with all of those trades, especially before we actually see the proper breakdown in Bitcoin dominance and the others chart, which I've shown you is reclaim that 50% level, then sign up to Pinex. Get ready for Monday. Monday, we pick it up from there and we'll continue. That's it from me, guys. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful weekend wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Cheers.